just in time, right before the actual draft. At number 1, we of course got Joe Burrow, quarterback out of LSU. And what can you say about this guy? He is clearly the number 1 pick. The only reason I don't see him going to the Cincinnati Bengals is indeed if Miami goes ahead and trades up to get him. Now, will they do it? I don't think so. The only reason is they have the draft capital. Now, if they would do it, and if I would accept it if I was the Bengals, is you would have to just mortgage your future in order to go up to number 1 to pick him. And the amount of draft capital for the Dolphins to do that where the Bengals would accept it, I wouldn't do it if I was the Dolphins. The amount of picks it's going to take, I don't think would be worth it. And on the other hand, what the Dolphins would be offering to go up to that number 1 pick, I wouldn't do it if I was the Bengals. It just makes too much sense for the Bengals to pick him. They desperately need a new quarterback, moving into the future, regain the trust of the fan base, and just the story of him from Ohio State going down to LSU and becoming successful, an Ohio kid. It just makes too much sense for the Bengals not to pick him. Then at number 2, speaking of Ohio and Ohio State, we got Chase Young. Now, this isn't going to be anything surprising. Once again, similar to pick number 1, I think for the Redskins to trade out of that, say if there's teams who want to go up and get Tua or another quarterback, Chase Young is just a freak. And the amount of picks that would make sense for the Bengals to drop down, say they want to get another defensive player or even a quarterback. I'm not sure exactly what they want to do, but Chase Young is just a freak, and the amount of picks that would make it interesting for the Redskins to move down, just like the Bengals, I don't think a team would be willing to give up that much where it would make sense for the Redskins to fall down. If you put Chase Young on that team, they just have a solid defensive front, and it is an offensive-driven league now, but we have seen how impactful a defense still can be. Just look at the 49ers last year, helping them get to the Super Bowl. So building up, you just take that best player, and that is Chase Young, and he is not a guarantee, but he is just about as close as you can get, I would say. So you pick him, you build up that defense with Ron Rivera, and you don't really think about it. Moving in at pick number 3, again, Ohio State. We got Jeff Okudah going to the Lions. This could be easily a pick where the Lions do move down, go to that number 5 pick, perhaps with the Miami Dolphins. Will they be willing to do that? I'm sure if they went to number 5, they still could get their man in Jeff Okudah, so that will be interesting to see. So depending, will they pick him at 3? Will they pick him at 5? I don't know, but they definitely need cornerback help after trading away Darius Slay. So Jeff Okudah can replace him, and he will be a dominant corner for years to come. So if it's pick 3, if it's pick 5, I definitely see the Lions picking Jeff Okudah, cornerback. Pick number 4. Now, I didn't do too many trades, but this is one, in fact, that I am going to see happening. I am going to pick the Chargers trading with the Giants to surpass the Miami Dolphins in order to pick Tua Tagovailoa over the Dolphins. They need a quarterback. I'm going to say that they're going to pass them so they can secure their quarterback. Now, if they don't trade and he slides to number 5, I do see the Dolphins picking him. Now, this is the most interesting pick in the draft, I believe, around this Tua spot. What will the Dolphins do? That will be the most interesting aspects. Earlier in the week, it looked like he was going to fall to number 5. Now it's seeming like another team's going to trade up to get him. So what will happen? That's easily the most interesting aspect early in the first round. Then moving on to the Dolphins at number 5. With their quarterback gone, they're going to go with Justin Herbert out of Oregon. Will he start? So Tua, they anticipated him backing up, kind of taking that redshirt year, letting Ryan Fitzpatrick play. Now, if they have a fully healthy Justin Herbert, what will that happen? Will we see something like Patrick Mahomes, depending on how the Dolphins season goes? Will he go into that starting role late into the season to get him some experience? Will it be middle of the season? Will it be early? I don't know. If you have a fully healthy guy, what do you do? I'm sure this offseason, everything that's going down, you obviously, I think, move with Ryan Fitzpatrick until Justin Herbert's a little more comfortable, gets a little more reps, learning experience. But if they wanted to go ahead and put him right away, they could do that. I don't see that happening, but that's definitely a possibility. Now we're at pick number 6, where the Giants traded down. A lot of people anticipated Isaiah Simmons, the all-around linebacker slash DB slash do-it-all man out of Clemson, to go there. I originally had him going there, but I'm actually going to go with Tristan Wirfs, the offensive tackle out of Iowa, being the first tackle off the board, simply because they put so much draft capital in the last couple years with their quarterback, with their running back, Barkley, Jones. You just have to protect them, and they need line help. I don't see them. You can get, this draft is loaded with tackles and receivers, so you pick up that tackle. I mean, Simmons is going to be a beast. He would definitely fit the New York Giants scheme, I believe, but you just have to protect those investments that you've already made in the years past. So you have to secure that tackle, and I see them going with the big tackle, Tristan Wirfs. Now moving to number 7 is where we do see Isaiah Simmons coming off the board. Luke Kuechly just retired. He goes into that defense and makes an immediate impact. So he falls to number 7. He's going to be making plays for that new, younger Panthers. Now, moving to pick 8, we got the Arizona Cardinals. We're going to go pick Derek Brown, the defensive tackle out of Auburn. Now, for the Cardinals, they just got their wide receivers, so you can probably take that off the board, which I originally had them before that trade went through. In this pick, they're just going to sit back and take the best available, and I think at this point, that's Derek Brown. He's going to help that defense. Their offense looks to be on the up and up, and that's going to be a great pick by them. Moving to number 9, got the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're going to take Mekhi Becton, offensive tackle out of Louisville. So the Jags, I don't see them having a great year, but definitely they can start building up that offensive tackle in the next coming years. They unloaded a lot of their players in the last couple years. Their great team that went to the championship game, they're pretty much all but gone. So a slow rebuilding process is going to start, and I think a great opportunity to start there is on the offensive line. So you take the tackle. He might not be the best immediate impact, but he definitely has room to grow. He could have a higher ceiling than some of the other guys. So you pick him, you develop him, and he is just a freak for a big guy. Rounding the top 10 picks, we got Cleveland Browns taking offensive tackle Jedrick Wells. Now the Browns could easily sit back, take the best available. They could go defense, but I see them helping out that offensive line. Like I said before, this draft is loaded with tackles, so you go ahead and take a tackle who could easily start 10 plus years. Just grow that line. Whenever they traded for OBJ, you kind of saw where they had some struggling on the line. So you take this guy, you help that offense a little bit, help out Baker, get some a little more protection, and I think this will just be a solid pick for the Browns. Moving at pick 11, we got CeeDee Lamb, wide receiver out of Oklahoma, going to the Jets. This guy has a lot of moves. This guy has a lot of potential. The Jets need some explosive players to help out Sam Darnold on the outside. I think this will be a great pick for them. Moving on, pick 12, we got Jerry Jeudy coming right after CeeDee Lamb. He's going to fit that Raiders, John Gruden's scheme. Surprisingly enough, I mean, he trades. Surprisingly enough, he trades Amari Cooper, and then a couple years later, he's going to pick Jerry Jeudy. So this guy's excellent at route running. He might not be the most athletic of the wide receiver class, but put him in the right scheme, put him in the right situations, he can get open, and I think he will strive in that John Gruden scheme. Pick 13, San Francisco 49ers. Now, I'm going to take for the third pick in a row, wide receiver Henry Ruggs III out of Alabama. Now, if you think of the 49ers, they could go also with Javon Kinlaw to help that defensive tackle replacement that they traded to the Colts, DeForest Buckner. So you could put him in there and hopefully replace him and get that nice rookie contract. A low player to help that defense where they were just last year, but they also traded for Emmanuel Sanders last year. They lost him to the Saints. So put Henry Ruggs III with that speed and that Kyle Shanahan offense, and I think that would be a great success. They'd have explosive players on the outside. They got him, Deebo Samuel. So him in that offense I think is a great pick, or they also could go Javon Kinlaw. Pick 14. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I got them taking Andrew Thomas, the offensive tackle out of Georgia. Now, they could either take best available here, but I see them taking a tackle, helping Tom Brady, giving him some more protection. He's not that mobile. Just give him time to find the open guy. I think they take tackle here. Whoever falls to them. In this case, I have them taking Andrew Thomas. Pick 15, Javon Kinlaw, going to the Denver Broncos. He's going to make that defense. You think about their coach. He comes from a defensive background. He would help maximize Javon Kinlaw's potential. He's going to go right into a defense that already has a bunch of playmakers, so that's going to be less pressure on him, and he's going to have a lot of favorable matchups. Pick 16, Atlanta Falcons. We have them taking C.J. Henderson, cornerback out of Florida. The Falcons have been a couple years since they've had a shutdown cornerback, so they take Henderson, start to develop him, and he has the potential to be that new shutdown corner for years to come for the Falcons. At number 17, now we have the Dallas Cowboys. I think they could go a couple situations here. Do they take a cornerback? Do they take a safety? Do they go offense and go wide receiver? Since the three wide receivers are off the board, I think they're going to go with the safety cornerback route. If a wide receiver would drop to them, one of those top three, like I said, I think they could take a wide receiver here. C.J. Henderson was the pick ahead of them, so I have them taking Xavier McKinney. He's a safety Alabama. This guy's an all-around safety. He's a big-time playmaker. It's been a while since they've had a safety. They've been taking some safeties, mix and matching over the last couple of years. You bring in McKinney, he's just going to be making plays out there. So, yes, they could use a cornerback after losing Byron Jones, but Henderson was just taking the pick above them, so I think they take McKinney here. Now, Miami Dolphins, the second pick. I could see them taking McKinney, but out of like the last two picks, their guy was taken right before them. So now I have them taking Clavon Chason, the edge out of LSU. They just fall to him, but they just sit back and take the best available right here, in my opinion. You got Brian Flores. He's a defensive guy. He can take Chase on and help him succeed. They signed a lot of good players. That defense is going to be vastly improved, and so they take the edge. If McKinney drops to them, they could take him. They could also take Anton Winfield, but maybe he falls to the second round. Maybe they take him with their last pick at number 26. We'll see what happens there, but I have them taking defense with this pick. Pick 19, we got the Raiders, their second pick, and surprisingly, I got Jordan Love falling all the way down to number 19. So this guy is someone who needs to kind of sit back and develop a little bit more before throwing into that situation. The Raiders have been wishy-washy on Derek Carr, so I think this is a perfect fit. You sit him behind Carr for a year, maybe two, depending on how they want to do it, how he develops in practice. So, and whenever he's ready, due to an injury or whenever Gruden sees fit, you put him in the starter only whenever he's ready, so you're not putting him in a position to fail. So you groom him up, and he has a high ceiling if he's put in the right situation and put in a position to succeed. Now, pick 20, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars with their second pick of the first round, and I have them taking Yatir Gross-Matos, edge out of Penn State. So let's see if they trade Yannick Ngakoue in this draft. They trade him and then they pick up a guy to replace him. Maybe they get a second round in this year's draft out of him. Hypothetically, let's say that. And so they pick up a guy who can replace him and start rebuilding that. You take offense, then you take defense. They're just sitting back and taking what they can to rebuild this team. 21, Philadelphia Eagles. We got Justin Jefferson, wide receiver out of LSU. This guy can do it all. We saw what he did at LSU, making plays after plays, helping the LSU Tigers win the national championship. The Philadelphia Eagles desperately need wide receiver help, so I have them taking Justin Jefferson. At pick 21, with the Vikings' first pick, I got them taking A.J. Terrell, cornerback out of Clemson. Now, I think this might be a little high for Terrell, but the Vikings are looking to replace Xavier Rhodes for the long term, so I have them taking out the cornerback. Now, we saw A.J. Terrell have a little bit better 2018 than 2019, so put him with Mike Zimmer, put him in a position to succeed, and we'll see how they are able to capitalize on the cornerback out of Clemson. Now, with the next pick, the New England Patriots, we got A.J. Epinesa, the edge out of Iowa. Now, if there was ever a New England Patriots defensive player in this draft, it is A.J. Epinesa. He's more of a defensive end in a 3-4 scheme, and just with the history of the Patriots defensive players, this just fits. This is a perfect match in my opinion. He is going to succeed. He's going to be the next great defensive player for the Patriots, who doesn't get that kind of high praise that those type of players typically represent. Now, he might not get the sack numbers and all the stats, but he is going to wreck plays He's going to throw the offense off, and he's just a great fit for this defense. Now, number 24, New Orleans Saints. We got Kenneth Murray, linebacker out of Oklahoma. At first, I had them taking a wide receiver to take some of the pressure off of Mike Thomas. They needed some help there, but they just signed Emmanuel Sanders, so now I have them addressing a linebacker here. So they're just kind of sitting back like a lot of the teams in the first round, just waiting back, taking the best available. They have a good team, so they're not necessarily need dependent, so I have them taking the linebacker. Now, with the Minnesota Vikings' second first-round pick, I have them taking T. Higgins, the wide receiver out of Clemson. Now I have the Vikings taking both Clemson players in this first round, so they need to pick a replacement for Stephon Diggs. So we got T. Higgins. Now, I'm not as high on T. Higgins in this draft compared to the other wide receivers. We kind of seen him drop in some of the bigger games. We haven't seen him have the best year compared to the previous year, but we'll see if they're able to kind of groom him up and reach his potential. Number 26, we got the Miami Dolphins. Again, their third pick. We got them finally addressing the tackle, and this is Austin Jackson, offensive tackle out of USC. So they need a tackle in this draft desperately. They could even double up in round 2, get 2 tackles here, but we get one off the board late in the first round, and we get the guy out of USC. Right behind them at pick 27, we got the Seattle Seahawks taking Josh Jones, the offensive tackle out of Houston. Now, if this indeed happens, if they go back-to-back, we'll see which teams value which tackle more, as the Dolphins are sitting right above them. Will they take Jones over Jackson? I don't know. But in this scenario, I have Jones going to the Seahawks. Number 28, we got the Baltimore Ravens taking Zach Braun, the linebacker out of Wisconsin, helping that historic Ravens defense. They have the offensive weapons. They could use another wide receiver. At this point, I think they just wait and possibly until the second round to pick one up, and they take the linebacker, helping out that defense. Number 29, we got the Titans. We got Trevon Diggs, the cornerback out of Alabama, helping that defense, getting them hopefully a shutdown corner in the years to come. So I think this would be a great pick by them, and I think he would fit right into their system. I could also see Trevon Diggs getting taken by the Vikings up in pick number 22. I think Trevon Diggs is an actual better player than A.J. Terrell, so we'll see how also that revolves around. But in this mock, I have him falling to the Titans at 29, and that's a great pick for them. At 30, we have the Green Bay Packers. We have them taking Denzel Mims, the wide receiver out of Baylor. They need some wide receiver help. We saw in the last couple years when Devontae Adams goes out, they just have some lacklusting star power there. So you get a wide receiver here. You kind of help Aaron Rodgers out. They have the running back now. They could also go offensive tackle. Maybe if one of them drops, their line's getting a little older, I believe. But I have them taking the wide receiver. San Francisco, I have them taking Christian Fulton, cornerback out of LSU. Have this guy sit behind Richard Sherman. Learn from him. Great cornerback. I think this would be another good fit. You have them taking the wide receiver early. Now we have them picking up the secondary late in the draft. And finally, at pick 32, we got the Kansas City Chiefs. At first, I had them taking a cornerback, but they just re-signed Breeland for a year. So now I'm going to have them take DeAndre Swift, the running back out of Georgia. I think this would be a great pick for them. Get them some running back help. They've had success with their guys they used last year. They won the Super Bowl, obviously, so what they had worked for them, but this guy can go in. He doesn't have to be the bell cow, so you can kind of save him as far as workload. Plus, they have Patrick Mahomes. They're not going to run the ball 30 times a game. So I think this would be a great pick for the Kansas City Chiefs. This would just help their offense, I think, a lot, especially in year 2 with this guy. I think this would be a great pick. Now, I think we could easily see where Swift actually falls to the second round. Maybe even a running back doesn't get taken in the first round, as in this mock I only have one running back getting taken, and this was the last pick. But with this offense, I think a running back would be a steal right here in this point. And there you have it. That is my 2020 mock draft, short and sweet. It'll be really interesting to see how the production of the draft ends up with it being virtual, and I'm definitely interested to see how many picks I get right. So if you made it this far, thanks for watching, and let me know how I do. We'll probably be doing a reaction to this mock draft. And thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.
The Dolphins are now on the clock.